Embrace the now. Being present to this right here and now moment, you can literally change your life. In this very moment, you have the power to create the very experience that you want. It simply comes down to your thinking. Change your thinking, change your life. Job you don't like? Change your thinking. Relationship in trouble? Change your thinking. Something in your life that you don't like? Change your thinking. Your thoughts create your experience. Think positive things and you will see a positive experience. Picture the life that you want and it is yours. You can have it because it is all good all the time because it is all God.
Whoa. Time out. Hold on.
What?
All of this might seem true from the big picture perspective, but this isn't how it actually shows up in most people's lives.
Yeah, but this is the teaching. Change your thinking, change your life.
Well, it's part of the teaching. It might seem all good all the time for some people, but that really glosses over the challenges and struggles that most people face. This is a very privileged view of our teaching, and it certainly isn't true for everyone.
Sounds like you are getting caught up in the world of effect, my friend. Principle is principle.
Well, remember, even in our teaching symbol, the world of effect is still part of oneness.
Huh. Good point. Okay, so how do I teach principle without getting caught up in the effects?
Maybe the two aren't mutually exclusive? I have one word for you, my friend. Wholeness.
Wholeness?
Yes, wholeness allows us to fully embrace cause and effect, principle and law, our humanity and our divinity. Brene Brown says, the irony is that we attempt to disown our difficult stories to appear more whole or more acceptable. But our wholeness, even our wholeheartedness, actually depends on the integration of all of our experiences, including the falls.
Well, that just raises so many questions. At this time of social unrest, a seemingly never-ending pandemic, and one natural disaster after the other, how do we bring this teaching to the world in a way that actually works?
How do we bridge the gap for someone just walking through the door who's never heard this teaching before?
How do we recognize and honor people's experience while also knowing the truth of principle and guiding them to that understanding?
How do we create a world that truly works for everyone when the world seems to be working less and less for more and more people every day?
The answer is embrace the now. The now is key to all of these questions. It can look like many things. It can look like all of the ups and all of the downs. It can look like our most beautiful moments, or it can look like rock bottom. But the now is always pointing us back to our wholeness. Ernest Holmes says, we are not so cold-blooded as to say to a person with pain that there is no such thing as pain. That is not our idea or purpose. We don't ignore the world of effect. We are not cold-blooded. The world of effect is as real to us as it seems. Holmes also says, we admit the fact. It is quite a different thing to admit its necessity. We recognize the world of effect, and we recognize that in denying the power of the world of effect, that we are able to transcend the appearance of this effect. We are able to reclaim our power and transcend and transform our experience. We must transcend the appearance, even though we admit it as fact. First, we recognize the appearance, the effect that shows up in front of us, and then we reclaim our power and change our experience.
So often in our teaching, we talk about this idea of turning away from the condition. And yet, if we only turn away from the condition ourselves and we're unwilling to look at it and we put on blinders, we are leaving everybody behind who is still in that condition. And really, in doing that, what is happening is that people are dying in the shadow of our spiritual light. And so instead of turning away from the condition and denying not only the condition itself, but everybody who is still struggling or suffering or having a challenge in that condition, instead we turn towards the condition. We look at it squarely head on and we deny the power that it has over us. Returning we remember the truth that God is all there is, that spirit is all there is, and in doing so, we remember our wholeness and our oneness. We remember that principle is still in the creation of the mess. And when we do that, not only do we deny the effects of the condition, but we support everybody else in doing the same so that we can all come together in the light. And so, we ask you again, what if now is a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day? Oh, hi, Becky. It's so good to see you. We missed you at the center on Sunday. Oh, a cold. Yeah, you sound really congested. Well, have you looked at what was in your consciousness? You created that cold with your negative thinking.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's time out here for a second.
What? We know that we create our reality and that everything that happens in our lives is a result of our creative thought. It's even in the Declaration of Principles that Ernest wrote. We believe in the healing of the sick and control of conditions through the power of this mind.
Yes, we do believe that we are co-creating our reality. However, our creation doesn't exist in a vacuum. Everything that we think and create moves through the law, which includes the collective consciousness too.
You mean race consciousness, right?
Yes. Ernest Holmes often said race consciousness to mean the consciousness of everyone who is here now and who has come before. However, because we're still struggling with racism and othering in this country, we say collective consciousness to be clear that we are speaking about the whole and not just one group of people.
You know, you really shouldn't say we are struggling. You are just creating more struggle.
Acknowledging that a problem exists doesn't create it. We can't heal something that we are unwilling to look at. Kimberly Crenshaw says, when there's no name for a problem, you can't see a problem. And when you can't see a problem, you can't really resolve it. The same is true with Becky and her cold. It isn't helpful to ask someone how they created a certain experience in their life. It is so much more complicated than think a thought, have an outcome. And acknowledging that Becky was sick doesn't create more sickness.
Isn't it my job to help people change their thinking and create a better life?
Yes. And part of that is supporting and loving the people right where they are. Sometimes we don't feel well and it sucks. We can love people through the sucky parts and even let them know that we know it's hard. By acknowledging that Becky was sick, you are supporting her in feeling seen and heard. This not only helps her shift her own beliefs and thinking, it makes her feel better too. Problems aren't like Beetlejuice. Saying their name doesn't make them appear.
So I guess I'm just trying to figure out like how to really use all of this. Like I'm new to the teaching, right? And this all sounds great. And I see everybody else like making these huge changes in their lives. So I guess I'm just curious. How do I actually do this? Like my job sucks. Doesn't pay nearly enough to live on. I've started another side hustle trying to make ends meet. The bank won't approve us for a mortgage, so we're paying almost twice as much in rent a month for half the space. We both have student loans that have more than doubled since we finished school. We'll probably never pay those off. And honestly, I'm kind of tired of living a life that doesn't work for me. It sucks.
You know, you really shouldn't talk like that. You're just going to create more of what you focus on. Besides, there's only good in this universe anyway, so...
Right. It is true that at the universal level, there is only good.
This happens all the time.
It does. We think we're being helpful when, really, we're just diminishing someone else's experience.
Yeah, that one subtle interaction can really turn people away from our teaching and make them not want to learn more or even show back up.
In reality, people just want to be seen. We all have those moments that are just terrible, horrible, no good, very bad moments. And sometimes we just need to share them.
So how would you respond in this scenario, Rev Dan?
I would respond to the student with compassion and understanding. It sounds like they are in a really challenging situation right now. I would make sure they feel seen. Then, if it felt right, perhaps begin to introduce some ways of applying principle as a means of beginning to shift their system of beliefs.
I love that. I would also look at what we as ministers and practitioners have been saying. If we continuously bypass people's experiences, then others are going to feel justified in speaking to one another like this. It really doesn't create safe spaces in our communities.
Yeah, not at all. And it is our job as leaders to continue to do our own internal work to ensure that our communities are welcoming and inclusive to everyone, no matter where they are in their journey.
So anyways, I just don't know what to do about my relationship with Sam. I've been really unhappy for the last few months, but I love them so much.
Tell me more about what's been going on, Jessie. What's made you so unhappy?
We just don't seem to be compatible. Sam loves to go out and hang out with friends, and I would just rather stay home and read. I know that I create my reality, so I just try to have fun in any situation I'm in. They always want me to hang out with them and their friends, and no matter how much I want to enjoy myself, I just really don't. But I love them so much, and I can't imagine my life without them in it. I mean, we do have fun together sometimes. Plus, they're the cats in the house, and I know that if I could just change my thinking about the situation, I could be happy.
It sounds like you really love Sam. You want things to work out.
Yes.
And it also sounds like your life doesn't really look like you want it to right now. How would you like to feel?
Well, I want to have a quiet life. I enjoy reading and painting, and I really love an evening that is spent at home with my cats and tea. I feel peaceful and calm when I'm in my space alone or just Sam. I like all their friends, don't get me wrong, and I do have fun when we go out sometimes. I just keep praying that I can be happy.
Have you heard the phrase, treat and move your feet? It isn't enough to just do spiritual mind treatment. We also have to put our values and beliefs into action. It sounds like you and Sam have different values. You value your alone time, and Sam values connection. Neither of these is right or wrong. However, you both deserve to have your values recognized and honored. Have you talked to Sam about any of this?
No, it isn't up to them to change. I'm in charge of my own reality.
Well, that is true. We are always co-creating our reality with not only spirit, but everyone else who is in our sphere of influence. It's important to communicate with our loved ones and make sure we're in situations where our needs and desires are getting met. It doesn't make either of you right or wrong.
I hadn't thought of that. I guess I just have always believed that positive thinking would be enough to change any situation.
Well, it's a good start, but positive thinking alone just leads us to bypassing our feelings or trying to stay somewhere we don't belong. What do you feel needs to shift, either internally or externally, that would support both of you?
I need to trust myself and know that I can ask for what I need and want. I definitely think I need to have a conversation with Sam.
Well, you have a great foundation of love and understanding in your relationship for that conversation. What can I know for you today in treatment?
Peace for sure. And really...
Wow, what a great session.
Thanks.
It seems like Jessie is in the place that a lot of people in our teaching are in. We gain just enough knowledge and understanding to use the principles to beat ourselves up when things go wrong.
Yeah, I know. I really wish there was a magic pill.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It would make it a lot easier. But think about all that we would end up missing out on. Part of embracing the now means embracing our growth that is only available in the mess. Remember, Asha Tyson said, "Your journey has molded you for your greater good." And it was exactly what it needed to be. Don't think you've lost time. There is no shortcutting to life. It took each and every situation you have encountered to bring you to the now. And the now is right on time.
I love that quote. Thanks, Rev Dan, for the reminder.
If there is anything the past 2 years have shown us, it is that we don't get to choose which parts of the now we get to embrace.
We are in this beautiful state of evolution and growth, and that can be really messy.
And it has caused a lot of terrible, horrible, no good, very bad days. And that is okay.
Oneness means wholeness, which includes all of this. So remember, embrace the now, because now is right on time.